Peace. Supreme Understanding, also known as Dr. Sujan Das. A lot of y'all don't know that I'm really an educated dude. You know, I talk crazy a whole lot. And I'm really not talking crazy, but I talk so that I sound crazy a whole lot. But everything that I say is based off of, you know, some real research. Whether it's research in the field or whether it's empirical research that I'm studying somebody else's work, or whether it's just me making observations based on things that I know to be true. I'm not just talking to be talking, basically. So today I wanted to do a little bit of a commentary on the state of our educational system. So I think it's especially relevant, considering the fact that we're in an age right now where school is increasingly irrelevant to a disadvantaged child's opportunities and success, while we're increasingly pushing the myth that school is the only means to success. Now let me explain what I mean by that. I mean that in this economy right now, a high school diploma nor a college degree are a guarantee that you're going to be making a stable income in your adult life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't make money because I got a degree or because I got several degrees. I make money because I know how to hustle, and I know how to put myself in the right predicaments, and I know how to follow through with the things that I need to follow through with. But I have several colleagues, you know, who graduated from Morehouse with me, who, you know, they still telemarketing, they still hustling, they still working in retail, you know. And I'm not saying that to clown them. You know, these are my people. You know, I'm saying that to say, yo, the degree just was another loan. It was just another debt that they have now. You know, so you got a young brother right now. He live in a neighborhood like this neighborhood I'm driving through right now. You know, I'm leaving the Bluff right now, and he's looking around at, you know, the drug addicts, you know, the prostitutes, homeless people, and things like that. Fucking dog! You see that dog? These young men and women that's going to high school in these types of areas, and even elementary school. They realize at a certain age where they're able to do some kind of critical thinking that, hey, this myth you're giving me, you know, which we call the dominant achievement ideology, or the American achievement ideology, which is that education plus hard work equals success. They're realizing that it's a myth. You know, it's not like something that is guaranteed, because they got older brothers and older cousins and people that have finished their high school degree, and they work in the McDonald's side by side with the people that are dropouts. You know, and I'm not saying that it's necessarily true, like you're definitely going to be, you know, you're not, there's no help that a degree is providing you. It's just the idea that the degree is the means to your success. You know, we know that there's at least 9 different types of intelligence based on Howard Gardner's work, right? There's all these different forms of intelligence. For example, there's a visual or spatial intelligence, which is, you know, you're able to, you have like a pictographic memory. You can remember everything you see. You know, then there's people that they remember or they learn through experience. They have to do it. See, that's why some people, they don't learn when you tell them. They got to go through it for them to learn. There's other people, they have a logical, mathematical mind, you know, and they're able to learn that way. There's other people that have a musical intelligence. They learn things based in patterns of rhythm, you know, which is why some of our kids can memorize every rap song, but they can't memorize these facts and figures from history that have no bearing on their present-day lives. You know, so we know that there's all these different forms of intelligence, but yet we push only one form of academic success, which is liberal arts education through college. I mean, you know, that's how hypocritical that is. To know that there's all these different types of people out here, and we promote all this diversity, promote all this multiculturalism in theory, but not in practice. We don't acknowledge the fact that, hey, you know what, this boy right here really probably needs to go into some vocational training. And I'm not saying he needs to be just a plain auto mechanic. He could be an airplane mechanic. He could be a NASA engineer. You know, or this person right here, man, we need to push them to fine arts. Where's the schools for them, though? Where's the schools for them? For some types of intelligence and some learning styles, there are no schools in the hood. And so, kids at a certain age are able to do some kind of critical thinking. I would venture to say that that's about 2nd or 3rd grade, where they're old enough to look at the world and compare it to what they're being told and see that there's a disparity. And that's why at about third grade, and really nowadays as early as second grade, we start seeing a drop-off in the amount of engagement you see in young black students. And also other cultures too. Native Americans, Hispanics, all, people that are considered involuntary minorities. People that are in a country where they know their history is one of victimhood and oppression, and they were never wanted here. People like my family, who were considered voluntary minorities, came to this country trying to buy into the American dream. Now, some of them, like myself, for example, realized the American dream wasn't right for us, and so we rebelled. And then others were like, yo, I'm just going to go ahead and do what the society wants me to do. I'm going to assimilate. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to assimilate, especially when your history is one of slavery or victimization or oppression, things like that. So if you're Hispanic, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Native American, so-called African American or black, these things are relevant. You can't just put it all in a multicultural bucket, mix it up and say, hey, this is what you got, and it's all good. We're going to do Cinco de Mayo, and we're going to do Black History Month, and we're going to act like nothing ever happened. Because you telling these kids about Black History Month, and I ask the kids questions all the time when I talk to them, like, where were black people before slavery? They don't know. They ain't been taught that. They in third grade, the high achieving classes, and they don't know nothing. They talking about they people might come from Britain. They said an island. One of them said Russia. Not out of a whole class of maybe 18 students, 2 children were able to figure out that it was Africa. What does that tell you? Your history begins with you being a slave? Of course you're going to rebel against that. Of course you're going to be mad about that. Of course you're going to lash out. Of course you're going to either disengage or completely just fight. And it happens in a number of ways. It's no coincidence that you may not see as many black men committing suicide through traditional means like, pills or shooting themselves in the head, though you are seeing more of that because we tend to take on the mental illnesses of the dominant community, though it takes longer for us to adopt those forms of mental illness, that type of depression and suicidal tendency where you kill yourself that traditional way. But you see the other forms of suicide. You see young black men and Hispanic men putting themselves in predicaments where they know the outcome is death. It's called suicide by proxy. It's the new form of suicide. Put yourself in a situation where you know you're going to die. So you get involved with things that you know are going to lead to your demise. Because at some point you just stop caring. Because it's hopelessness. It's systemic hopelessness. And it starts as early childhood. And school is a major player in it. But the schools won't teach them about being the underdog, about struggling against the odds, about responding to adversity, about overcoming the challenges. Schools don't teach that. And the parents would teach that if the parents knew that. But the parents don't know that because who taught them? The only people that are equipped to teach that type of stuff are people that have knowledge of self and who are still in touch enough with the community to be able to talk about their present day problems and issues. Now, some of us, the so-called have knowledge of self, are so disconnected from the community that we can't have those conversations. Fortunately, there's people like me, maybe people like you, and there's other people who are able to navigate both worlds and give young people strategies to overcoming, the immense obstacles that they're facing.